You're listening to WOHM Charleston, 96.3 Ohm Radio. And welcome back to They Call Me Love. It's me, Luvie, your host. So glad that you came back to sit with me. And of course, you know, I have a wonderful guest for you this week. But before we get into the guest, I just wanted to make sure that you are still writing down your purpose, writing your dreams down, write it down to make it plain. I'm such a believer that when you write things out, that it can come to fruition so much quicker. So making sure that you are tapping into those gifts and talents that you have that are going to bring you into your abundance and into those things that you have been manifesting and praying. Make sure you check out my Monday motivation on all platforms. You can type in hashtag They Call Me LUV and it should pop up at Miss Luvie Smith, MSLUVIE Smith. And of course, my website is theycallmelove.com, which will point you in the right direction. But, you know, this week, I definitely wanted us to focus on making sure that we are not the ones that are blocking our blessings. Okay, so stay tuned for the whole entire interview. And at the end, of course, I'll give you some of that motivation. But our guest this week is Victoria Rae More. In parentheses, love, because they call her love too. So, you know, we have so much love for her. And she is all things art, culture, communications, PR. This week, our show is entitled Tiny Purposeful Power. She is heads up all things tiny is powerful. Please make sure you go look that up. She also has I Like My Tea Sweet, which she is a podcaster as well here on Ohm Radio. So that's even more exciting because she is definitely family. And she's going to talk about how she has, you know, truly stepped out on faith to walk into her purpose. But also she introduced me to a healing circle that we had here in the Low Country, which was definitely eye-opening. And it really was a healing, safe space to be able to talk about some of the things that we ignore that may be going on in our community or in our lives. But she's going to talk a little bit more about that. But again, so much love to Victoria Rae More, in parentheses, love, because of course she is love. So much love to you. Stay tuned for the whole show. Can't wait for y'all to hear this good one. They Call Me Love. And welcome back to They Call Me Love. Of course, you know, I have a wonderful guest for you on this episode. I have lost track of the episodes, but I can tell you at this point, we are starting and gearing up season 2 of They Call Me Love. And I was trying to get her on season 1, but what had happened was, you know, a lot of stuff happened.
Happened?
I don't know what had happened was, okay. Our guest this week is Victoria Rae More. Did I get it?
That's it.
Listen, and I would just like to say, in parentheses, I have love. So we need to call her love too, because you know we love
and love.
Yes, for sure. Okay, now Victoria. Now, you know, I don't know if you know, but I do a deep dive on all of my guests. So I was all in your personal business, okay? All on your websites, all on your social medias and things, okay? The main thing that stuck out to me and I wrote down was a movement artist of all things, because it went, you're a podcaster, poet, healing circler. It was like a whole list of things, right? So let me not tell the people who you are. You tell the people, who is Victoria? Yes, there you go. I know.
Well, that's so cool. That introduction, what you were able to gather is such a nice reflection. So thank you for taking the time to look at that. When I first was kind of moving with the title of movement artist. I want to pause and respect and pay homage because I really meant it in all the ways. It was a double entendre because my original form is that of a dancer. And so I move and groove.
Yes.
In my living room.
Okay.
I think they call that a personal practice. Anyways, but also at the intersections of everything I do, I don't know. I have always felt, my mom, when I was younger, she felt called to be actively, civically engaged, and took a lot of, in her business, in her civic work, in her rearing of children, and everything she did, she just took it super, super strong. And also, she was of the time, her and my father got married around about the same time that Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated. And so, she's a daughter of the movement in a way. I mean, and I feel that work, the work before that, the work of that, it all continues and continues, and I believe that it is part of my work.
Because they pass it down, right? It's the legacy. We all have one, and either we run with it, okay, or some of us run away from it, okay? I ran away from mine for a very long time, and then was like, nope, because I feel like the Most High will definitely redirect your behind.
Course correct.
All the way back.
Yes,
okay, GPS.
Yes.
Of course, whatever it is, and He will redirect you right back to where you are supposed to be. So, girl, I know. Okay. Yes. Okay, so movement. I think I did know that you were dancing because I just happened to see that maybe on your social media you were taking a class or you were doing something. And I was like, hold on, wait a minute, she dancing too? Like, hold on, wait. So movement, so you're dancing, but how did this open up to, you have on your tags over here on Instagram, all things art, which is for sure, because I just saw you the other day. We were at the Moja Arts Festival at the art open, the reception. Culture.
Yeah, we are.
Moja, I mean, that's all that too, right?
Are.
Communications, come on, podcaster, radio, and all things. Okay. So was dance first? That was the first one. That's your first love? Or
my first love. What can I say? What was my first love? I started dancing when I was probably like 4 or 5 years old. I started with tap dancing, and then I eventually, probably around age of 8, was when I started practicing ballet, and I was in the creative arts education system here in Charleston County.
Okay, though.
Again, I have to acknowledge my mom because she did that. So dance came first, I suppose, but I've always also been a writer. I've always consciously kept journals, and
me too.
Again from my mom, she just put a book so writing and finding poetry, that all came naturally as well. And then I went to school and I studied public relations. And while I was studying, I interned at a variety of different organizational structures to understand the various roles of PR in those spaces. And I'm just still on the path. But you're walking it though.
Yes. You're definitely walking it and checking off some things I feel like you may have had on your list, because I've been walking, through some things, and I'm like, am I checking stuff off on my list here? I'm like, yes, I think you are too. You know what I'm saying? Because there's no way in the world, okay, that I could write some of the things that I jot down just to a reminder for myself to make sure I bring up. I want to know, please. Tiny is powerful. Where did tiny is powerful come from? Because tiny is powerful, right? It doesn't mean you can be tiny and you can have the biggest voice, the biggest heart, That's why, I was thinking about tiny is powerful. And I was like, I love that. It's big because that's a .com there. That's the website. And I was like, hold on.
It's also a .org.
Oh, come on, .org, com, all type of things. You better have multiple. Okay.
Well.
I love it. Tell me about Tiny is Powerful, which came before I Like My Tea Sweet, I guess.
It's in a way. So it's so funny. It's because I go back. I love this. I love this legacy.
Come on, love. We love legacies. Come on.
I know, and it is. It is. I've always been in and with artist communities of people, always. And I had an opportunity. It was an opportunity. It was an introduction. It was divine. And I came into this group of artists who were implementing a multi-year project, which is pretty revolutionary in some ways in terms of how the arts and artists are supported and understood for the significance of the roles that we play in the world.
That support.
Yeah. So it really came from that. And within that project, the way that the project was designed, and I believe that this is still within Tiny is Powerful, is it has the capacity for other projects and ideas to happen simultaneously. So that's why it's like, oh, did I Like My Tea Sweet come before Tiny is Powerful or out? It's like it all was happening and it all just happened and it's happening.
Right time. Come on.
Yeah,
divine timing.
Divine.
I definitely believe in divine timing. Oh my goodness. How long did you have I Like My Tea Sweet, aka that is her show. Okay, sorry. It is on Ohm Radio as well. So we are sisters in Ohm, right? But how long was that on your list before you actually created it for real?
Yeah, well, I think that the initial season 1 episodes were recorded mostly in 2020, and that was before Ohm.
Okay, so you were doing this before Ohm.
Yes.
Come on now, speak to it. I need to hear this. This is a story. Go ahead.
Well, so at the time, the project had 2 younger people, either just out of high school. I think Aisha Bowens at the time was in her senior year at Burke High School, and then Rain. And Rain was a few years ahead of that. And we were just bouncing ideas in this community lab that we had temporarily installed on Reynolds Avenue in North Charleston.
Come on now.
And
spaces.
So many things were happening in that space. So many things. And in the midst of them, podcast came up. And I remember a brain bounce and another youth, I believe at the time Markel was an apprentice, Markel Evans. I believe we were the ones in the room, and this bounce happened, and I think it was actually Aisha who, we bounced title, and then that one came, and there was like a round of affirmation for that.
We are in the South.
We are, and Aisha Bowens. I haven't talked to her in a little while, and so I hope she's well.
Well, we're gonna find her. Come on, shout out to Aisha.
Yeah.
We need to holler at you because I Like My Tea Sweet. Absolutely adore that title. I love a good title, first of all.
Yeah, she's a writer. She's a poet.
Well, it came right on out, right? And then we're in the South, so y'all know down here we like our tea sweet. Okay, we need some sugar. Right. I mean, have y'all ever gone to? I went to Virginia or somewhere, and that's still supposed to be the South. Ordered a tea, and it came with no sugar in it. I was like, where is the I spit it out. I was like not expecting it, you know what I'm saying? But okay, so anyway, that's so random of me. But y'all know down here, we like our tea sweet. Okay. Do y'all get to the tea? I have listened to your show, but
that's the funny part. There you go again, like the entendres. Because one way I remember when I first heard it was something about podcasts. Sometimes we think of like gossipy or like whatever. Not all podcasts. Some are very like documentary style. Some are very artful. So it's not all of them. Yeah. But some are. And the little thing that made me chuckle about it was like, well, if we're gonna, you know how in the South there's that phrase like nice nasty. So like, you know what I mean? So that I just heard it and it was like, well, we're not doing that. We only have sweet tea. Like we only have sweet tea. We need the good, positive, sweet tea. Sweet tea.
I love that. Yeah, we're not really about anything kind of negative around here either. Like, the tea is always good. We always like to get some tea, right?
Yes.
But the tea doesn't always have to be gossip. It doesn't always have to be negative. Can we talk about some good tea, about the goodness that's happening in other people's lives and what's going on I Like My Sweet Tea that's positive, in the community and everything like that. Speaking of community, a lovely, good segue here, I don't know how long ago this was, maybe about a month ago or however long. We were at a healing circle. Now, I didn't know what a healing circle was. I'm going to be completely honest. I saw it. Shout out to Zandrina Dunning. She's like, bring your behind. You have to be here for this. And she was like, Victoria. And I was like, oh, she said your name. And that's all. I was like, okay, I need to be there. Okay, I can be there. But I did not know what I was walking into. Right. So first of all, I was about 10 minutes late. And everybody who knows me, I am always a nice fashionably late. Again, because I didn't know what I was showing up to. Right. I'm just like, oh, Lovie, just come on. Yes. Walk in. You're literally in a circle. And it is a very intimate setting. Maybe 10 of us? I don't know, 15 or however many of us in there. They're in a circle and they're having a deep conversation. And I was like, oh my God. Like, look at me coming in here.
Being cute.
And I was like, I'm going to have to really talk. Oh my gosh. Slow me. Healing circle, love. Healing circle. Okay, you probably need to speak. Okay. We touched on some very touchy topics that needed to be said, probably haven't been talked about in situations like that where you're comfortable enough to really actually speak, about it. What did I put? It was a diverse group of educated people sharing their true experiences in life. But it says healing circle, social justice, racial collaborative. I mean, please, you're going to have to break this down for me.
Sure. But
I can say it was a very good experience. I mean, it changed my life because I didn't know what I was going into, right? But then when we sat there and everybody was able to like connect, I'm talking to people who I probably never would have talked to, in that form or fashion, to be able to share their past and their hurts and things that we're dealing with. Please tell me, whose idea was this? And they got the right person to head it up. I mean, you know what I'm saying? If y'all know Victoria, y'all know she's all love and zen around here. Okay, I got an incense burning, following her, that type of thing. So talk about healing circles. I know.
I'm laughing. I'm like, I do have an incense.
See, I know. I was telling you. Hey, we cleared on out. Y'all better burn something, okay?
Something safe.
Something safe. Oh, my bad. Let's be specific. You are correct. Lord have mercy. Go ahead. Anyway, healing circles, social justice. Whew.
I know. And even this, I'm happy to I like a larger context which acknowledges that people have gathered together for intimate story exchanges, cross-culturally. So something about that. So there's something universal about the healing circle, period. And also this particular methodology of facilitating community conversation was developed by Dr. Gail Christopher, and she was with all the name dropping sometimes frustrates me, but I like it. Like I respect the work. So Dr. Gail Christopher was with the Kellogg Foundation, and she developed this methodology. And in it, she just designed I think it usually runs about 90 minutes if it's gone as the format is. And it's just a gentle way of allowing people to be comfortable and opening up and speaking. So it is considered a facilitated conversation because the facilitators are there to hold space and to help guide participants by giving an example of telling a story. It's an interest. It's honestly an art form in itself.
It is. It was. And then you talked about heading things up, goodness, and facilitating. This thing was structured, y'all. Okay, that's why I was saying, I was like, oh my goodness, what am I getting into? Because y'all had thought about this. Okay, the questions were specific. You pre-planned. You did give us time to think about it, though. So you gave us questions to think about before we were able to share. But then you said you had like a facilitator, and this is you. So y'all know we're touching on some touchy topics, right? Victoria's like, okay, everyone, let's gently go back to our seats and return to our... I was like, hold on, what? Let's gently go back to our seats. It was so good, but it was the way you said it. Because I would have been like, all right, y'all, come on, let's go. But you were like, no, excuse me. All right, everyone, gently. Let's go ahead and end this and transition on to our next. But it was good because somebody does need to be there for that. Because of the things that we're talking about, we could have sat there. Truly, we could have been there for hours. And some of us, we weren't really ready to go, actually, because it was like, wait, we're just now scratching the surface of some of these things. And I'm talking about, this is a diverse group. We're talking about educators, musicians, us, here in communications, all ages as well. We're not talking about just like people in our 20s. We had people maybe in their 60s.
And there was actually a young college-age student was also in our circle. It's really, I enjoy that. And I'll also acknowledge that the initiative, the Social Justice Racial Equity Collaborative, they really, I don't know how to say it. It's an ambitious effort and it's ongoing. And so those circles are so healing circles is now, I think, becoming a little bit more general. Although when it first started rolling out in Charleston, it was kept, it was like, we've got to call it exactly what it is. But the more you experience it, the more you understand that you can call it anything, but not anything. I don't want to make it light. So I've said that to say that, like, looking ahead, some of them may come under the name of the Charleston community circles. And that was a thoughtful decision. I guess there's delicacy around healing. I mean, that's a touchy word. And actually, the name of the methodology actually it's called a racial healing circle.
It is, you're right.
And so I just think all of that right now in the climate, it's like, well, we want to continue the work of this as best as possible in as many spaces as possible. And so, we will adapt and see if this works better. We did well.
Well, please let us know. Keep us updated here at They Call Me Love. I will attend. And I definitely want to know so I can tell some other people. Yeah. Because I was like, man, I know some people who would have wanted to be in that room. And
every circle is different. It's about who shows up and who participates and when. The beautiful one that you came to was that it was a community of people who gosh, it's hard to explain. It can be at random. Like we can decide a place and we can put a sign up and we can promote. There's going to be one here. There's going to be one here, and see whom all comes through the open door. And also, there's another way where if there's an individual or an organization who would like to do this with their groups, either internal or external groups, then they can be brought into spaces. So it works like that.
Oh, that's a good idea. Okay, I'm thinking. I know some people.
Who need some?
Who we could? Who need some healing? Okay, we all need a little healing. Okay. Yeah. It's true. We do need healing. I feel like spiritual, emotional healing, physical healing as well. But me walking through my healing helped me walk to my purpose. As you're walking through life, being sick, quote sick, and that doesn't mean always just like you coughing. Okay, you're stressed out, you're depressed, you're going through all those things. That's sickness, right? Yeah. And we rebuke that. Okay, first of all, but when you start to tackle it and really pay attention to it and acknowledge it, that healing comes, and healing allows for other doors to open, and then you can walk through those doors and close some behind us. So segueing into that, we talk about purpose here, and everyone who was here, I feel like you are walking in your purpose. I would not even have you on the show if I didn't think that you were there, because I need you to give some positive words to those who are still trying to walk, you know, in your purpose. So can you speak to when you were going through your healing journey, as feel as everybody has, or learning lessons or learning journey or whatever? What are some of the things that you learned that allowed you to say, you know what, I am going to walk in purpose. I am going to change this, or you acknowledge something that you know you needed to change to be this, right? The best that you can be. I know that was deep.
So deep. I had to close my eyes and really listen to the question. Like, let me hear now. Gosh, because like if every single time we encounter something that we need to heal from, then we're constantly healing. And so I have always felt that I was walking in my purpose. I have always believed I was walking in my purpose.
That is good. I don't know if you're the first. You may be the first person who said that. Aww. For real, because not everybody acknowledges their purpose, first of all, you know, and when they do, sometimes you get fearful and walk in the other direction, because walking in purpose is not easy, right? It's a lot you have to accept, change maybe, you know.
Yeah, constantly. Growth, perpetual growth.
Growth.
Right, and then like careful what you ask for, right?
Okay, be careful what you ask for. I mean, I tell people all the time, you have what you say.
Yes.
And you better be careful what you ask for, right? Because if you say, I want to heal, I want to grow, I want to walk in this.
Yeah, even that. Exactly. I've actually seen that consciousness around where if I want to lift up, you know, instead of what we're healing from, focus on what we're healing to. And that is not original. I was part of a collective gathering of artists and organizers, and we were imagining pathways forward. And this came out of that.
That's good right there. Okay. All right. So when you realize, okay, ever growing, ever healing, when were you like, you know what? This is what is the first thing I need to do. How do you know what do you do first? Right, because we all have multiple gifts, right? You're dancing, you're writing, you're doing all of this. Do we, and as a creative, do we have to choose first?
Everything it's like a series of firsts.
Yes. 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 You're right. Oh goodness. Oh God. And all of us are about to start more first coming up here soon, right?
New day every morning.
New day. Come on, good morning.
Yes.
Do you know about my good mornings? You probably don't know about my
tell me.
I used to say good morning to everyone, even when it was 6 o'clock in the evening, 8 o'clock at night, it didn't matter what time. And it goes back to, there's a verse in the Bible that basically says you wake up and you have new mercies every morning. So I would just say good morning, and it would be a way of, really, I was trying to motivate my own self.
Yes.
Good morning, Lauren. Good love, Lauren, whoever y'all want to call me, Lauren. That's me too. And it would motivate me, and people would like trip off of me because they're like, Lauren, you know good and doggone well it's 5 o'clock. It is not good morning. But it actually started to catch on.
Yes.
And it was like a tagline for forever. And my friends still come and tell me, hey, good morning, you know, and stuff like that.
I love that.
When you said that, I was like, oh, good morning.
Yes.
Let me bring it on back.
Yes.
And I can get even deeper goodness, because then I changed it to Grand Rising. Okay.
Yes.
Because we were like, I don't know if you're going to know about this, but you know, when they say good morning, they say it came from morning people, right? And it's like, you don't really want to say good morning to anyone like that. So it's like, well, Grand Rising, you know, have a wonderful rising or something like that. So
and grand.
You know, and grand, right?
Yeah. Mindset shifts. Yep.
Come on, mindset shift.
Yeah. It'll do it.
Because I'm telling you. Okay, healing circles.
Hey,
like
this might be one. No.
This could be our healing circle. Yeah. Come on, somebody. I tell people all the time, shout out to everyone who's listening, because somebody's healing from this.
Yes.
I don't know why the Lord said you better open your mouth, because that's what he told me. I don't know why he said that, but doing these things, I find it's because somebody else needs to hear it. They would never believe that I had been through those things. And when they hear it, they're like, man, if she can do it, I can do it. So shout out to everybody who is in your healing journey.
Yes.
And we love you guys, and we send so much healing out to you. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And you need to get with Victoria so she can point you in the direction of a healing spirit.
Come on.
You know, because Tiny is powerful. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. No. Okay.
It is.
We're so crazy. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. So also even deeper. All right.
Okay.
I know. Right. Here we go. So purpose.
Okay.
That's the whole thing here. So I said, what is purpose to you?
Okay.
Okay. So I had to write my own definition because I was like, well, Lauren, what's purpose to me? Okay. Okay, so it says, for me, it is establishing a set of values and principles and beliefs that give life and meaning and a path to achieving what the Most High has for you. So that is purpose for me. I know. Sets of values, principles, following the path, and those gifts and talents, and then that opens up to purpose-driven things. So what do you feel like is purpose for you?
In this freestyle, I am equating purpose with being on purpose with being intentional.
Yes, come on.
So, that purpose for me is doing my best to be present and to understand as best I can and to carry myself and my values with integrity and true to me in all I do. So to be on purpose. I am being on purpose.
Yeah, that intentional. I think that was my Monday motivation a couple of weeks ago. That's when I was like, ooh, come on, don't do that. Intentional is serious, right? You really have to be intentional with everything that you do. Everything that you do, even when you speak, you're intentionally listening, you know, before you say things. I am intentionally watching the rooms that I walk in. Who am I around? Speaking of that, how do you feel about leveling up in your purpose when people can't come with you? All of us have dealt with that. What advice can you give to someone who is dealing with the fear of abandonment or just the separation anxiety or
learning to, like, one thing that helped me was to realize who I loved the most in the world, and to make it a point to make sure that I was always loving them as best as I could, so they always knew and know that I love. I'm speaking about my daughter right now, Mariah Rae Love, and she knows it. She might be listening to this 20 years in the future. For sure. You know, but and then I started to be able to reflect on, okay, well, I should love myself that much.
That's wow. I don't have kids.
Right, and that's why it's a difficult, because everyone's journey is different.
It is, but my mother has told me something similar to that. How I gave her a push, or she saw something, not until I literally came into this world, that she saw something or felt something, a protection or something, and just knew. And I was like, I always tell people I admire people who are parents, because I'm just like, I don't know how you do it. You're taking care of a whole child person. It's a whole person you're responsible for. That literally scares me, because I'm just like, I barely can take care of the cat. Like, how in the world? Okay. But that's interesting you said that, because a lot of mothers have told me that you know what, I need to do my best for and be an example for my baby, right?
But it's like, when I think of caring for my child, I'm thinking about, making sure she's getting good food, making sure she's getting good rest, making sure that she's having fun, making sure that she's learning and gaining knowledge, and making sure she's getting to spend time with family, and making sure, and then I'm like, oh, okay, Victoria, can you mother you too?
Okay. Ooh. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that, because if you don't take care of yourself, you can't take care of anybody else. I mean,
well, and we also, though, I also, I don't want to get too much into motherhood because I don't want to like isolate an audience, right? So going back to like getting through the hard stuff, getting through having to the people who can't come with you, or abandonment or loss or fear, which is at the baseline of so much. I think identifying it is part of it too, and sometimes you just no way to it but through it, or through it but do it. I don't know. I don't know. If anyone listening needs to feel encouraged, I hope that the encouragement is in knowing that there is another side. And I went through a long struggle of trauma on trauma on trauma on trauma, not to mention any inherited traumas and traumas and traumas. And everybody's traumas are different. So I don't like to parade that around. But I can say that in the midst of it, everyone can tell you there's light at the end of the tunnel, and even if you believe it to the depth of your stomach, it doesn't stop the pain. It doesn't stop the pain.
You said it though, acknowledging it. That's the first thing. You need to acknowledge where you are, acknowledge the things that you are accepting, realize that these are things. If you don't have to always accept everything. Are you accepting something that's not good for you? It's that acknowledgement, really. And then once you acknowledge it, face that thing, because okay, now I acknowledge it, but now what you gonna do about it, right? What's the next step? How are we gonna get out of this? Or but goodness, I think all creatives, or a lot of creatives, or people who have prophetic gifts and things like that, unfortunately do go through trauma. And at first I didn't understand why, because I'm like, Lord, what are you doing? Like, why am I going through this? But I promise you, looking back now, I know why. And I know it built my testimony of different things, and I am stronger because of the things that I've been through, which is like, it sounds so cliche, but dude, it's true. It's true, right? Like, goodness. Oh, man. Tell me about a time when, outside of the trauma, outside of once you've gotten over the healing, once you're...
I'm still healing.
Well, okay, that's right. You're right. We are all still healing. You are correct. When you maybe hit a milestone of healing in some way, where something that you dealt with for so long finally was like...
Well, I was affirmed recently.
Come on, affirm it. Come on. Come on, Seasons.
I was. And it's like, I didn't know that I was any closer to healing. Like, I didn't know. It's like I didn't see it coming or anything. Like, and then all of a sudden I saw the most astounding rainbow I have ever seen in my whole life, and drove through it. Like, I didn't even know physically that was possible, but somehow the way that the roads were and the way that the mountain was, I've never experienced it, so even thinking about it, I'm like, well, I don't know how to describe it. That was the most recent thing that just reminded me that I'm on the path.
Come on.
And so I think that another thing that I have developed, or am continuing to develop, is I saw a play during Moja, and this was part of my work. I actually, it really was. It's just funny in this context. And there was a line in the play. The play is called Yankee Bayesian, and the playwright is Linda Paris Bailey. And it made its stateside premiere in Charleston, South Carolina, and it debuted in Barbados a few months ago. It's a spectacular piece. I believe it is touring. But I'm saying this to say there was a line in the play that I wanted to quote here, and of course, just at that moment, it left my mind.
It's okay.
I'm like, wait, where was the question? I lost it.
I forgot. Oh, no.
I lost it. Oh.
No,
there were so many beautiful gems in that piece.
We can pause. Okay, go ahead, because you saw a play. Okay.
Right, and there was a line in the play, and it said, you either have to have your eyes open or closed, and you have to choose. And if you choose to have them closed, you might end up somewhere where the sun don't shine. And so that was, again, like something that I was like, I hear, and my eyes are open.
Okay.
But it's funny, and I want to, again, acknowledge where it came from.
And you're driving through rainbows. Okay?
Yes.
And rainbows are a big thing
I also
for me.
saw a white squirrel, which I didn't know that was a thing.
No,
I was
didn't
in the
know that either.
mountains. I saw this thing across a tiny little lake, and I thought it was a little sculpture. And so I pulled out my phone and I zoomed into it because I was like, it looks like a sculpture of a squirrel, but I wonder who randomly placed a squirrel-shaped object over there because it was white. And I just zoomed in really close to it on my phone, and I was like, and then it moved and it went about its merry way.
Okay, you know that was something. You know that was, right? Come on now. Like rainbows, first of all, that's God's promises.
So keeping one's awareness and openness to the natural gifts.
Ooh. Come on, leveling up because you have many gifts. Start tapping into those gifts because those gifts send you. I tell people all the time, your gifts are the way that you leads you to your abundance. Like, there's a lot of times that we pray for certain things and we're like, oh, I need $1 million, or oh, I need this office space and right? But God is kind of waiting for you to take a step for him to even provide that. Like, what if getting into podcasting was the $1 million idea, but you're waiting, right? You just have it on paper and God's like, okay, well, the $1 million is over here, but you haven't even started this. I can't get you there unless you do this. And I was like, I can't remember who said that. And I was like, that makes sense. Okay, let me start getting it together. Like maybe we are the ones that are sometimes hindering ourselves, right? Or slowing ourselves down and stuff like that. So no, we're accepting our rainbows, which is God's promises. So that's already there, that he's really telling you, get ready. True. Get ready for the things that you did pray for, the things that he already told you that he was going to do for you as well. That's another thing we have to acknowledge.
Take me to church.
Yeah, for real. You need to acknowledge the fact that we prayed for things, and then when they start to show up, we're like, what's happening? Or we get nervous. But hold up, we prayed for this. So let me do what I said I was going to do. That was the Lord. What I'm saying? Let me do what I said I was going to do. And I'm like, okay, let me fall back because, promises are coming. So rainbows, hey, listen. I keep seeing those too, which is weird. And you're talking about you drove through one. Girl, I'm gonna have to look that up after we get off of here because I really need to understand.
I will describe it in more detail. I didn't want to take up too much of the airways.
We need rain. Come on.
Beautiful story. There's a place in Tennessee called the Highlander Center for Research and Education, and I know of this place, and I could go in a million directions from there as well. But it was significant to leaders and organizers and activists, and so I knew that much.
And there you are. Come on.
And they had what they called their homecoming, and I had an ability to register. It was online. So I registered and I drove there and I went and I had the experience and I brought back with me I could write a whole thing of that. But on the way back, I was driving home from the mountains and so that's why I say I hadn't experienced it. I'm like, does this just happen in the mountains?
No.
Oh.
No. It happens everywhere, but it's crazy to say the mountains because I think something about just nature in general.
Yes.
I mean, we have to connect. God is in that, and me and my mom recently were driving through Virginia in the mountains. And this is a ride that usually takes us 8 hours. We didn't even realize how long we were driving because of how beautiful the atmosphere, just the air, everything was totally different. And all we were doing is literally basking in the beautifulness of the Creator, right? So the Creator shows himself in the things that he creates. I mean, you're driving through mountains, rainbows. He's going to show you, right? So, girl, I know about the mountains, but no, it don't just happen in the mountains. No,
happens
girl,
at the beach too, I've heard.
It happens at the beach. It does. It does, because that's water.
And the rivers and the lakes that we're used
Water.
to.
I'm telling you, come on. Don't go chasing them. Water though. Water is the Holy Spirit. As people don't, if you ever dream about water, that's the Holy Spirit. Water can be rough and it can be calm, but it's telling you, I'm here. I'm here with you. But definitely beaches for sure. Beaches, water, like mountains. Truly just being in nature. I mean, like, I can really find and tell you stories of prophetic things that have happened just from being out there. Goodness. The rainbows. Being able to hear clearer.
Yes.
See clear.
Get away from the technology.
That part. Oh God, how hard is that though? As being in PR, come on now. I was about to say,
don't ask me.
I was about to say, do you ever get a chance, to put your phone down?
I try to. Sometimes my phone will die, and I'll just let it stay dead for a minute, and I'm like, well, can't find my charger.
That's good though,
Yeah, but otherwise, no. I mean, everything is, it's emails, it's text messages, it's social media, it's websites, it's following the news, it's paying attention to your friends, it's sharing enough pieces of yourself that the people you care about know you're alive, and the people you work with know that you're celebrating them too. I mean, everything, technology.
Really yeah.
So I'm really grateful for the times where I do step away, because I do, and I will more.
I think I need to more. When was this the other day? This was just yesterday. It took me forever. I'm still supposed to be replying to multiple people's emails, including yours. It took me forever to get to you to send the invite for her to even get in here. Because I'm doing 89 million things. Right. And I'm like, wait a minute. Let me hold still. And I put my phone down.
Right.
And I got up and I started doing stuff. And next thing I know, it was an hour had went by. But I felt I don't know, a release in some way, because we're always scrolling, we're up, y'all. It takes forever to create a story, okay? An Instagram story. Y'all think it's just we're just gonna post and find a picture. No, it takes forever. Oh my God,
stories and reels, and
the reels.
I wanted to come up with something that rhymed: stories and reels and automobiles. You know what I mean?
There we go. And deals. Yeah, all of those things. Oh my goodness. Shout out to all of our creatives out there, and all our people in PR, and all the people doing everything in the background for us. Anybody who wants to be our social media manager, just hit us up for free. We don't pay anything at this particular moment, but we feel as though you could just sow that into our lives, and help us get out of this thing that we call a cycle of ever moving in Instagram. But anyway, goodness, hold on, let me look at my paper, because we all over the place, but that's exactly why we're here. And
I'm here, and I'm so present with you. I don't care. I don't know about the time. I don't know who's listening. I don't know. How are you guys feeling out there?
I know we forgot about y'all.
You doing good?
It's just us in here having a conversation. Our bad. We forgot that you were out there. Okay. Okay. So we're not gonna be here all day, because y'all know Ohm puts us on a time frame around here. So to just close it out, I would say, what is next on your purpose journey? What do you feel like is next? Something that you maybe was I haven't gotten this yet. This is the next thing I want to roll out.
Yeah, I've got a lot of collaborations and ideas kind of circulating in the orbit and constellation. I want to just go I've learned something a couple of times I've been on these conversations and I've announced something, and then it took forever to happen, which sometimes that does.
You are making a great point. Don't speak on it unless he tells you to speak on it. Ooh. Okay? Because that is a lesson that I have learned. Sometimes you can speak prematurely, and also share things with people who don't need to know it. Not necessarily, not saying it's me or anybody, you know what I'm saying? But
right.
There are negative forces out there who will speak against your dream, so I'll put a pause on that for you, because it reminded me of something I was saying. You can't tell everybody everything. You know what I'm saying? We could talk about that off the air. You know what I'm saying? Type thing.
Yes.
But know
absolutely.
that is some good stuff coming from Victoria. So before we get out of here,
yes,
tell the people Hold up. I feel like there's something else I wanted to tell you. Hold on, let me think about something. Oh, you know what I want to tell you? And I was like yelling through the computer. You had an interview with Daniel Green.
He's amazing.
Daniel, I have an interview scheduled with him as well.
Amazing. I
have known Daniel before he walked in his purpose. We used to work in a call center together.
Oh,
and
my gosh.
He was the comedian of the call center, and he was definitely talented way before then, right? Then we went to Trident together, and we just kind of been on a journey, and I've watched him really, truly grow. And so when I saw him, I literally was like talking to you about you coming on the show, and then I talked to him, and then I saw you post him.
Whoa.
And I was like, come on, timing.
Yes.
It just, great minds think alike. We're all linked together, you know, in this atmosphere, you know, out here in this world. But I just wanted to throw that out there. I was like, yes, you better come on down.
Yes.
I love that. We have like so many people that we are in common and stuff.
And in community.
Mm-hmm. Come on, community.
Yes.
Healing community.
Yes. Well.
Tell them, where can they get at you if they want to know more about healing, about tea. I like my tea sweet. Tiny is powerful because we have some tiny businesses, some tiny, you know, and all types of things that I know you can help.
Yes.
Let them know.
Yes. Yes. So I am on Instagram at Victoria Rae, Rae, Love, Love. And Tiny is Powerful is going through a website upgrade, but you're welcome to, or like update, just an update, up to date. Speaking of dates, but you can visit it anytime, tinyispowerful.org, anytime, to get an idea of the values and the mission and present works and past works and some more community.
Yes.
So I would say that. I would say my Instagram is pretty open, and that's a good way to start. And if you'd like to be in conversation about art or community or PR or business or finding one of these Charleston community circles in particular, all those things and more.
And more. So much more to come. I'm so glad that you came and sat with me.
Thank you.
I feel like this is a part 2 that's coming because I didn't dig all the way. Because see, I feel like, you know, we can go further. Did you see the movie the other day? Let me ask you.
Last night, you mean?
Yeah.
Well,
the 29th, I believe, is the full.
Well, there were, so yes, the short and long answer.
This is why there's a part 2, because this is why we could go all day talking about it. Okay, go ahead, I'm listening. You saw the moon. You saw it too.
It was beautiful last night.
It was.
And that wasn't even the full one.
I know. It was huge.
Yeah, and like, glowing. Really, yes.
Y'all, listen, we'll have her back so we can talk about how important, you know, moon cycles are and how interesting they are, you know, and different things, you know. I'm telling you, it'll be good. Oh, y'all, make sure y'all check Victoria Rae More. AKA In the Middle of Love in there. Okay, on I Like My Sweet Tea. She is our own radio sister, so you can definitely check her out as well. She has so much more, and we'll have her back. Don't worry. We'll have her back so that we can dig more into the goodness.
Oh, maybe we'll do something even cooler. Maybe the next one we'll like set this up and we'll go live and like people can, you know what I mean? We can open it up. Everybody come on. You know, I'm just saying all things are possible. Friends, and that's how ideas are born. Yes.
I'm all for it.
Yes.
Believe me, I have it written down. I did. Anyway, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me, love.
Yay! Hold up. Where's my applause? Hold up. I gotta find my applause. You won't hear it, but they'll hear it. That's funny.
Awesome.
Yes, thank you so much, Victoria. So much love to you. Remember, she's love in parentheses. You make sure you go show her some love. Tiny is powerful. She is my sister in Ohm Radio and so much more. And I can't wait to see all of the abundance that's going to be coming from her in this season. So, yeah, holler at Victoria Moore. So let's get into our motivation. So this week I've been thinking about what are some reasons on why we are not running into our purpose, or those things that we are manifesting and praying for. Why is it taking so long for us to be able to receive it? Part of the reason, it has to do with that we could be actually blocking our own blessing. Like, we have to kind of take accountability and look at ourselves in the mirror and be like, well, what is it that I'm not doing? Because, the Most High, he's going to do his part. The things we've been praying for and manifesting, he heard it. So he's going to do his part, but then we have to do ours. An example, would be like, what if you really wanted to go to Paris and you have all of the pictures on the wall and you love the Eiffel Tower and everything like that, but yet you don't have your passport? Well, how do you expect to get to Paris, right? Well, God could set up something for you to be able to go, but you don't have your passport. So you have to do something, right? In order to step forward. Sometimes also we're living in the past as well, replaying thoughts of negativity, of things that we've gone through, instead of looking forward and thinking of the things that we do have. We could be praying for a relationship, right? But yet we're still stuck on the past relationship. How is God going to be able to bring us that perfect partner if we're still stuck in the past? That he brings us that perfect partner, and if we're not ready, we could mess up the situation because we're bringing that negativity or that past hurt into the new relationship. So it's about truly healing, right? So again, what are some reasons why we could be blocking our own blessing? I would say one is self-doubt, for sure. I've dealt with that as well. It's like, I just always say, you'll never know unless you try. Remember that old saying? I think it's as simple as that. Just try to step out, just begin, right? What about pride? Pride as well. You have to be able to admit your faults. Pride is when you are always feeling that you can do it on your own and pretend to be strong instead of allowing God to help you. Pride is also when you take God out of your plans. Ooh. That's not good, right? An example is when you succeed in a thing, and instead of giving the Most High all of the glory, you tend to magnify and praise yourself as if you did it all, right? Of course, remember, he helped you get there. He gave you those gifts and talents, right? So something has to be there. We do have to give him the glory. Also, what about unbelief? That's like the constant belief that we are not going to make it, that we can't do it. No, not at all. We are not going there. And that brings me to negativity, right? Those are your thoughts. Those are people that are around you. They can hold you in your past and goodness, just repeat negative things. Yeah, so it can get deep, I know. But again, this is what it's all about. It's about purpose and some of these things that we have to address in order to get into our purpose. We have to start unlocking those things we've locked up away, throwing away the key and wanted to ignore. It goes deeper. It can go back generations of things. So we want to tackle everything that is coming against your blessing and your destiny. So again, my name is Luvie Smith. You can find me at theycallmeluv.com. Of course, make sure you hit me up on all social media. They Call Me Love Productions. They Call Me Love Dreams. Dream interpretation, and I'm still accepting clients for spiritual life coach. So let me help you get it together, right? So They Call Me Love. Can't wait to see you for the next episode. Again, Ohm Radio, we love you so much. And They Call Me Love. You're listening to WOHM Charleston, 96.3, Ohm Radio.